This patch is absolutely grotesque, and I'm very curious to see if we see major changes in the big update that is coming soon. But first, let's talk about our tier list and the top lane with the carry tier.
We hid super secret skin codes in this video. Yes, 3 of them. Yes. Go find and redeem via a link in description.
Fiora is still the absolute menace and absolute queen of this lane. Another champion that has been more and more powerful in recent times is the Yasuo tank build. The plated steel caps or the mercury treads are just so powerful against certain types of damage. And the champion alongside of him, who is still way overpowered, is Vladimir. Yasuo just doesn't die thanks to plated steel caps, Vladimir just one-taps your entire team, and Fiora just takes down sides in an instant, similar to Jax. However, Camille feels a little bit weaker than before, as well as Jace in the Baron lane. So for now, I don't really know if I want to keep them in the S tier or put them a little bit lower. And theoretically speaking, Yone should also not be in the S tier anymore, but it will take some extra time and seeing generally how well the Yone tank build performs compared to the Yasuo tank build, because the Yasuo tank build makes this champion absolutely foolproof. If you manage to go 0 and 10 on this champion with the tank build, then I'm sorry, there's just no words for you. Champions in the A and B tier are just way less consistent and do everything that champions do in the S tier, but substantially worse. For the tank tier, we still have Ornn as the best champion available, but there's one contestant that is very powerful, Dr. Mundo. This champion's damage certainly isn't normal, and he tanks like an absolute machine. But why did he become so strong now? It's the combination of new runes and new boots. Plated steel caps are so unbelievably busted that they are so much stronger than the first item completion, because upon completing them, you literally beat the head in of anything you're facing unless the person does true damage to you. So for now, I believe that defensive boots are way too powerful in the way they are. They grant you health regen, health, damage resistance to a certain type in percent, as well as the resistance towards that type of damage. That is absolutely nuts. With that done, let's talk about the jungle tier list. In all honesty, technically speaking, I should put multiple champions in the absolute SS tier. We have Hecarim, we have Kha'Zix, we have Evelynn, and we have Lee Sin. All of these champions are absolute demonic existences, but Hecarim really takes the cake. This champion just doesn't die and kills you regardless. However, he's a little bit slower than Lee Sin in terms of diving you, because this guy just jumps behind you and kicks you in the face and you just die, and he does it on repeat. And he just ganks you on cooldown and doesn't lose anything for it. He's very annoying to deal with and very problematic in a very chaotic environment. As a little reminder or tip here when it comes to defensive boots, when you're facing an AD jungler, AD top and AD mid laner and you think about playing around their side, then rushing plated steel caps can really be the difference maker. However, if you're not planning on making any type of these plays, or the enemy team doesn't have a clear damage identity, you can just rush Gluttonous Greaves. Another option here would be to delay your boots and then go for your first item and then wait to see how the damage of the enemy team is slowly building up, who's fat, who's weak, and then build your boots accordingly. The jungle role also has a few champions that require barely any skill and are broken as hell, like Pantheon for example. Another champion who is nearly as unskilled as Pantheon is Kayn. And there's luckily one thing that Kayn players are doing recently: they stopped going Shimmering Spark. So they all delay their forms and troll around in their games and only get their forms at 8 or 9 minutes, and even if they're facing only ranged champions, they still take up to 4 to 5 minutes to get their form for no reason. Buy Shimmering Spark, fully clear your jungle, gank the enemy bot lane and suicide dive. All you have to do is stay inside of the enemy champion with your ult the entirety of the time, so your Shimmering Spark deals damage, your red buff deals damage, and then you go for another combo. If you happen to get the kill on one target, you'll most of the time, if not all times, get your full form on one death as early as 3 minutes into the game. And you can replicate this consistently. So you're basically paying 500 gold, a few seconds of your jungle clear, for getting in super early form. It's just way more broken in my opinion. Twitch is also lower in this tier list because people simply learned how to kill him. They just kill him at his first buff, and unless the Twitch player knows about this and starts on the other side of the map, he basically dooms himself into irrelevancy, or rather makes himself way weaker than he's supposed to be in the early game. You shouldn't get me wrong, Twitch is still a very powerful champion if he gets to scale into the later stages of the game or even into the mid game. The moment he gains access to free items, he starts shredding your entire team with just 2 auto attacks and a second ability, or even just 3 auto attacks from stealth and his ultimate ability. If he then pops it with his third ability and he already has Leandri's Torment, well, you probably lose 60 to 70% of your HP by just simply getting touched by him. Or even your allies can grief you because, well, you're just a collateral damage of their AoE, since Twitch's E, if it's fully stacked, explodes and applies all the poison stacks to everyone around. As for the tank tier, we still have Volibear as the strongest and most annoying champion to face. He will still dive you upon hitting level 5, has a good jungle clear, has sustain, is super annoying, you know the idea. And every other champion that is very teamfight oriented, like for example a Mumu, is also still very good. Proactive champions like Rammus, Jarvan, even Nautilus, and reactive champions like Shen. All of these champions have super high base stats, want to fight, and can just instantly turn the tides of a fight by hitting one crucial ability. All the other champions in the A tier are more like duelist or soaking damage, with the exception of Mundo, because this champion's damage is really not fair, so he might actually be put into the S tier very soon. For the mid lane, there were not really that many changes. Vladimir is still broken, Zoe is still annoying, Annie is still very consistent, F is still unbalanced, and every other champion is either still in the same spot or equally as useless as before. If you personally want the easiest LP of your life, you should probably duo queue with a jungler and just play Twisted Fate on cooldown. Rush Nash's Tooth and just, well, gold card people, and well, goodbye 07, they're dead. When it comes to assassins though, Ahri is still probably the best one when it comes to strictly solo queuing, simply for the fact that she has wave clear that's non-committal, and the ability to roam to other lanes very consistently, especially with the boots of Mana Rush. All other champions like Fizz, Diana, Akali and Zed are way more committal and have to spend their entire combo into the wave while going into melee range to clear said wave. However, there's one thing that Ahri players are never allowed to do. When Fizz, Diana, Akali or Zed roam to a side lane, you cannot walk after them. If they're waiting for you in a brush, you'll be instantly dead. So you have to always make sure to be the one that pushes first, to walk away first, so they don't have a way of just catching you. And on the flip side, you can just be the one that catches them then. Just be very aware of what is possible. For the other tier, we have still Jace as the most powerful pick, but honestly with the rise of Yasuo, and Jace might lose his spot very soon, because it's absolute grotesque playing against Yasuo. He starts with Ruby Crystal, Resolve Tree, Grasp, everything, you just don't even kill them, you don't even touch him. And the moment he has steel caps, you don't do anything anymore. So unless you can really utilize your early pressure to get something done, you'll be on the losing end very soon. Another thing we did is we put Akshan 1 down, and probably Lucian will also be put down very soon. These champions are just not that strong anymore outside of their early presence. The moment we get into like early mid game when plated steel caps are completed, these champions don't really do much unless they're already super fed, and even then things look very bad. But still, a good Akshan will still be like 10-0 in 4 minutes and will do this every single time, but he will have big trouble carrying a game if he's in solo queue. For the AD carry role, we still have Corki as the best pick, the easiest one, the most consistent one and most powerful one, without a single doubt on my mind. He has a good laning phase, good scaling, good mid, good late, like he's very strong at every point of the game compared to Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa has a terrible laning phase, needs free items or you being stupid in order for you to die to her. And then, even later, Kai'Sa is very dependent on hitting her second ability, and if she really doesn't do this, she doesn't do anything. And Corki has just a way higher frequency of hitting people with rockets and dealing AoE damage, because Kai'Sa's W is only single target damage. But if there's one thing that Kai'Sa does well, it's assassinating somebody that grieves, and in solo queue, people grieve all the time. And Corki really struggles in doing so. And every other champion in the S tier is just absolutely broken. And technically speaking, I should put Caitlyn there as well, but I see all support players running it down constantly, so there's basically zero hope of ever having a Caitlyn game in which you're not getting actively griefed. But yeah, technically speaking, she's also S tier. Other champions in the B tier, for example, are just please stay away from them. Like, unless you have a Lulu on your team, don't pick Vayne. Don't do that to yourself. And Twitch as well, like, he doesn't really have a laning phase, takes too long and just gets ran over. It's basically jungle is his best position, and theoretically speaking, in a perfect world, it's not even a good position for him. For the mage tier, there was literally no change at all. In the support department, we have some minor changes. For example, Leona is now in the S tier. Everything else is still the same. We removed Sion because it's a Senna-centric combination that is not really often played in solo queue, and barely at all. Leona is just way too tanky, and her ultimate seems like really bugged. Even if you get hit by the outer edge most of the time, you still end up getting stunned, and it's very deceptive. And this element of deceptiveness is very powerful, and a lot of times people will not flash away from you, which will easily get them killed. Other than this, your supports either have good laning presence or very powerful teamfight or map presence. For the protect tier, we have Karma, which could technically also be a carry, same for looks, but You know the idea. Theoretically speaking, there are still protect champions, quote-unquote enchanters. Here we have not really any change to any champion. Karma is very powerful, has good laning presence, good poke. Lux is very powerful, has the same. Lulu and Yubi are very powerful duo champions. Braum is very good into engage. Janna is very good into engage. Soraka is very good if you have a good front line. Ami is very good if you need disengage or long range engage. Seraphine is the same and is also very good into engage. Nasus is very good into Hecarim, and Shen just helps out your side lane. Sona is completely useless unless you're against terrible players, because the last 7 games I've played against the Sona, she lost the tower level 4, died 3 times and was completely useless. Sona doesn't provide you with anything, gets beaten up in lane by literally anyone who plays the game remotely normal. And yeah, picking Morgana support is almost akin to griefing, let's be honest. When it comes to the carry champions, we have Senna as the queen. Senna has a tank build, Senna has a carry build, Senna has a crit build, Senna has a sustain build. You have everything in one champion. Good laning, good early game, good mid game, good late game, shielding, healing, everything you want from a champion. Another champion who I've also gotten quite fond of is Ashe, which sounds a little bit weird. Ashe is basically just another AD carry, and you just focus on getting a lot of ability haste to dish out as many ultimates as possible. But you will still go for full laning presence. You'll go for lethal tempo, brutal, full damage during the laning phase, go for a Sense Reaver obviously after you have Relic Shield, and for Gluttonous Grease into Black Cleaver. If you play with an AD carry, your physical damage will lower the armor of the enemy's champions, allowing your AD carry to deal even more damage, while you're basically some kind of a backup carry. And if you want to impact the map rather than stomp lane, just go for Mr. Pike. And that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and obviously come back for more RiftGuides content. Sub to the channel, comment right now for the algorithm, become a member, have cute penguin emotes, subscribe to Patreon, and everything else you can possibly think of. Okay, enough sellout, but join the stream, hear me mold, ask me some questions, you know the drill, and don't forget to look for the skin codes in the video.